Welcome back to Blam Blam Truckers, the only place on the internet where you can get your blam and your blam for your trucking needs. I'm Bees, that's Buse.
I am Buse.
He is Buse.
I promise.
You sure? So, here we go.
Raise my hand, I'm sure.
Raise your hand if you're Buse. So, what we're talking about today, or right now anyway, because we record these all at once. The next topic we have up is game mastering, GMing, running a tabletop RPG. This group that I've been running, which includes my good friend Buse here, has, I got to move this window over a little bit and click on this. All right. This game that I've been running on Sunday nights, you guys saw the start of it. If you go back and watch our horrible audio videos where we run the game, which we started last year. Mm-hmm. These guys have taught me some things I wasn't expecting to learn about running a game, and I want to go over them. Running this game with these guys is different than any other game I've run. It's far more freeform for me, and I mean a lot more freeform. I don't have an end plot for them. I just don't. I had some idea. I have ideas of where I want to go. I have obstacles I'm going to throw in their way. This isn't like running a module at all. If you've ever run a module for a D&D encounter where you have exactly everything's listed out and, you know, after this comes this and then this and then this. It's not like that. It's freeform. It's very freeform. There are no rails in this game. I just throw plot hooks out at them. And when they find something they like, they bite onto it, and then boom, we go do that storyline. So there's no long-term plot. I just come up with obstacles and put them in my player's way. The current storyline we're working on is rescuing a superhuman who's been taken in by the government for killing the woman he loved with his superpowers. Is that about right?
Yeah, accidentally, but yes.
Yeah. They don't know anything more than that, except they were arguing so they know a little bit more. They were arguing in the restaurant that 3 of my players work at, who were working at the time, and this couple was having an argument about the relationship. The girl was ending the relationship. She got up to walk away, and he said something to the effect of, "Wait, stop, don't go." And fire flew from his fingertips as he rosined up his bow. No, but fire did fly from his fingertips and killed her almost instantaneously. And yeah, they don't know anything more about them than that, except there happened to be, or was it happenstance? There just happened to be a CIA agent and an FBI agent in the bar who took him into custody, who got their guns out, pointed them at him, and took him into custody. It just happened that way. Or did it? Yeah.
I wasn't there. I don't know.
You were part of the session. You heard everything.
Oh, my character wasn't there. I'm the only one who doesn't work there.
Yeah, because he's wanted by the cops.
Which is probably good, because if I'd been working that night.
Yeah. So I have a suggestion for you guys. If you're out there GMing, try running a game in a real world setting, not in a fantasy setting, because I've gotten more creativity out of my players, more involvement out of my players setting this in the real world than I've probably seen in any other game we've run.
Now, this is not the first time I personally have played in a real world setting. And I have run a game in a real world setting before, and I have experienced a little bit, not nearly as much as he has, because mine was this is technically an alternate universe, but it's pretty close to ours, whereas mine was much more of an alternate. But when I was in high school, when I first started gaming, before I played D&D, I played Vampire and Werewolf. I was in a Vampire Werewolf game. Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf the whatever.
The Ascension? No.
Something like that, I don't know. But I forget who makes the game, but most people in the gaming community like RPG community have heard of these. But anyways, we were in a real world setting. But I was also a stupid 16-year-old kid, and it was before Google and Google Maps and all that stuff was really a thing. So unless somebody had like a map of Miami or something to pull out, it wouldn't have done much. But nowadays, us as players can be like, okay, so not saying anything bad about it, but I was laughing my butt off because one of our players really, really, really wanted to know exactly where we were, which is something that in a gaming setting, Bees could just be like, all right, here, I sketched out a quick map. I'll toss it up on Discord. There you go. But it's like, well, let's just, we can just look it up. Well, I kind of want to know exactly where I am, and where you're saying we are, it doesn't exist on the map. So therefore, which is true, because hey, we're trying to have it be in a real world setting, but at the same point in time, it's kind of like houses in Harry Potter. We'll just expand out Miami a little bit to put something there where we want it, because, well,
yeah,
we need certain fictional places to exist. And not all government buildings are advertised on Google Maps. So
that map session delayed my campaign for 20 minutes.
But again, it's fine, and it was. I'll admit, I had fun because of it.
Oh yeah.
But stuff like that, playing in a real world setting, it lets your players do stuff, and especially adult players. Because I can tell you, one of the people who games with us is a medical professional. And so when stuff happens, this person is able to better help Bees understand what would actually happen in a real world situation because of it. Again, it's great. Some of us have different knowledge, like real world knowledge. So it's like, okay, well, I think the difficulty would be high because of this. And we're like, nah, not really, because, hey, we do this for jobs, and this is like one of the easiest things in the world. And even learning about it, just because some stuff all three of us do, but or all four of us do, but Bees doesn't, we're all like, no, and Bees is like, I've never heard of that before. So it is very much a...
So they have bodegas down in Miami, and I've never been to a bodega.
And in New York, and in Boston, and in...
I'm not disagreeing with you. I
know.
I don't have a need to go to a bodega. I have a Walmart nearby. And it's more than a corner store. I've been to corner stores. I've been to gas station quickie marts. But apparently a bodega is more than all of these things, and less in some ways. But
yeah,
I think I don't know. I didn't know what a bodega was in last time I heard the term bodega was in foreign settings and historical foreign settings with So
meanwhile, I hear bodega every time I watch How I Met Your Mother, Seinfeld, because it's just a common thing for shows that take place in the city. The corner bodega, or the bodega downstairs, or the bodega across the street from where I work. But again, Bees doesn't. I don't
live in a big city.
Doesn't live in a big city and doesn't watch the same type of stuff that we do. It's just not something that he was exposed to as much, which is fine.
I've spent a good deal of time in Boston, Hartford, Providence, New York, a little bit of time in Philly, and I've never needed to go to a bodega. So yeah, your players, when you try it out in a real world setting, you'd be surprised how involved they get. Like getting involved in that map. Like for one of my players, it suddenly made it real, and I realized he's the only player I hadn't done this with yet, because with Crenshaw, I ran solo adventures with the other 3 of my 4 players. So it was John, our player John. That's his character name. So he didn't have time to run a solo adventure with me. But as you guys know, because you got to see the one I did with Buse, we sat down and figured out roughly where we were and got a rough idea of where things were happening in Miami. with Crenshaw. We figured out we did a little bit of map work, but not a lot because he didn't get into it as much as I did. Okay. And then with Fiona, I did more map work than she wanted me to do because I'm like, okay, so there's like I'm doing research. Like it feels. I'm not saying I could go down into Miami, to the part of Miami that we know, and walk around and know exactly where I am or anything like that. But if I know some landmarks now in Miami from running this game, like I went through, I did my internet search and I found all the casinos in Miami. I found out that gambling is legal in Miami, but only certain kinds of gambling. So there's not just gambling at the Indian casino, but there's gambling casinos inside the city itself that don't have the same range of games that the Indian casino has over on, I can't remember the name of the tribe, but I know where that Indian casino is. I know what they offer as far as activities go, or did offer a couple of months ago when I looked it up. I know what they offer in June of 2023, which is where our game is set, or when our game is set. Yeah. And
we typically only get to between 1 to 2 days per session.
If that. Our sessions, the other thing is, if you're going to do this no long-term plot, this total freeform thing, you want a lot of short sessions, because being creative for long periods of time like this is rough. When I've only got to fake it for 3 hours, that's not that hard. I've got 3 hours worth of material. I probably bring about 6 hours worth of material to every session we start. And we go through about 3. So I've kind of got it's kind of like learning all the digits in pi. You learn 10 digits, 5 digits at a time. So you learn the first 5 digits, which is 3.1415, and then you learn the next 5 digits. Then you learn those 10 digits, then you advance by 5. So you go to the next 5 digits. Sorry, that analogy.
And happy belated Pi Day to everybody.
Yeah, I may have jumped the gun on that one. So I always have a little bit of material going into the next session that I prepped this session before. About half that material for the next session I prepped this session before. So right now I've been throwing hooks out there that they haven't been biting on, like the hurricane from 2022 that destroyed some houses up in Vero Beach, and the repairs on that are going slowly. They heard about that on the news last week or the week before.
Last week, yep.
There's a criminal out there that we totally made him up. His name is Carl Richardson, and my players came up with the name.
I love how you tied him into my backstory.
I tied him. So after we created him, I tied him into Buse's backstory. And right now, Carl Richardson, it's a plot I stole from The Wire. I steal all of my plots from television or books, and then I change them and make them mine. I'm inspired by them. I'm not stealing. So this is a guy, a criminal, who's running around killing drug dealers and taking their money. But he's killing anyone in there. So he's just killed 2 innocent people that Buse was involved in that shooting. Buse's character, anyway. Char Pryorson.
He shot my character. It didn't do anything to me, but...
No.
And he ran away from me. I can't believe he ran away. He should have stood and fought like a man.
You just took a round to the chest from a shotgun, and you were fine.
He should have stood there and fought me.
Char made the right choice, and he decided to make sure the civilians were okay and called 911 and get them help.
At risk of getting arrested.
At risk of getting arrested. Very heroic. Did I give you a character point for that? I might have.
I don't remember.
Char is the most heroically minded of all of my characters.
I might not be the best superhero.
He's the worst superhero, but he's the most heroically minded. When he sees a problem, he'll solve it. Check out the beat while the DJ revolves it. Yeah. But putting him in the real world they come up with new stuff. Like when we run Star Wars, Star Trek games, Star Trek, you guys actually knew more about Star Trek than I expected. When we ran that Star Trek game years back, one of the things that, like, so when Buse's character, his shining moment of awesomeness, the ship they're going to, was it the Enterprise I had you guys going to? I forget.
Yep.
So there were new recruits on the Enterprise, junior officers, and the Enterprise gets swarmed by Gorn, and which is a whole nother thing. Go back to our Star Trek episode we just aired. So the ship gets swarmed by Gorn, and you want to tell them how you solve the Gorn problem?
Yeah, I took the sensors. I used the ship sensors to lock on to every single Gorn on the ship, and I beamed them straight to the recycling center on board the ship because I couldn't fit them all in the brig. I think I tried to send some to the brig, but everything else I had to send to the recycling because I had nowhere else to store them.
Yeah. So they got the replicator.
And
They got basically put in the replicator.
Yeah, Bees' face when I suggested that, you're like, how would that would work?
Yeah.
Based on previous Star Trek episodes, that would work.
Yep. If we did that for TV instead of being gross and sending them to the replicator, I'd probably send them out into deep space. But yeah, he replicated them. He returned them to the replicator, I should say. Anyway, so we get that instead of one of the things I found in Star Wars and in fantasy stuff is the players will only try to do what they know they can do.
Mm-hmm.
That's all anybody can do is what you know you can do. So if they're not conversant with the scenario, the setting, they don't try to do anything more than whatever's on their character sheet. You know, they see they've got options to do things and they go ahead and do them. But in the real world, they know most of their options. They know a lot more options of what they're available to do. So,
and even if we don't, it's only a Google away.
Yeah, they've been to Walmart 2, 3, maybe 4 times in the last. This campaign is only like 2 weeks in game time has gone by, and they've been to Walmart a couple of times to buy supplies, and they went to the bodega and got supplies. And one of my Crenshaw he sends me stuff. This is hilarious. He sends me stuff that's current on in Miami right now, on sale for Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, Facebook Marketplace. Yep.
Yeah, or Craigslist. And he's buying that, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Guys, figure out how much it would cost in real life, and that's what it's going to cost you right now. You know, it's not like they're trying to buy a car or anything that they'd have to set up. Not yet, anyway. They come up with solutions. When the way I phrased it in the notes is my players come up with solutions that aren't on their character sheets. So they don't solve everything with a fireball. There's that old expression, if you only have a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. Well, by taking them out of the fantasy world and putting them in the real world, they've got more than just the tools that are on their sheet now. And it's opened up brand new and amazing storylines. Crenshaw, again, just posted. So I created on the Discord page that we're doing this on, I created a forum called In Character Posts. And because Buse came up with this, he came up with Hero Watch, which is, he just wrote this up and he's like, use it, don't use it, I don't know, but I had to write this. So after his whole escapade as a giant, because he grew up to 42 feet tall or whatever it was, and chased down these kidnappers, I guess. They're not really it's more complicated. So he chases them down and rescues these girls and causes all sorts of damage to the neighborhood, but luckily doesn't kill anyone. So he writes up somebody else's perspective of what happened, another character's, a non-player character's perspective of what happened. I posted it right up there. I made the forum, posted it right up there, and said, you guys are welcome to post in character posts on here. And he came up with a website called HeroWatch.com, where the heroes are watching, or they're watching the heroes and what's going on, so people could report. We've done a few in character posts on there, and then last week Crenshaw did a post, which do I have it up? Yes, I do. In character post. This was hilarious. And he goes, where is it? I am the Scarlet. I'm going to read it to you guys. I am the Scarlet Begonia. I represent a collective of superheroes. We are reaching out to other supers. The government knows we exist and are imprisoning and experimenting on us. The public needs to know, with the giant and the eagle making national news, that they will not be able to deny our existence, but will they be able to continue to deny our rights? I leave that in the hands of you, good citizens. Now, here's the kicker. We would like to assist you in any issues you believe you need a super team for. We are also looking for other supers. We are stronger together. Free Alejandro, Scarlet Begonia. Alejandro is the guy
Love
who
it.
shot fire out of his hands. So I read that and I'm like, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to write all these little posts about how all these little requests to come into the Scarlet Begonia for things to help out with. And that was my first thought. And we continue to game because I'm laughing at this because it's hilarious. And we continue to game and the wheels are turning and we continue to game. And then at the end of the session, I go, so just so you guys know, anybody who wants to write a reply to the Scarlet Begonia's post there, for every reply you write for a request for help, I'll give you a character point. And you guys did not disappoint. I set up to 5 character points per player. You guys did not disappoint. Yeah, some of them are real. Some of them I sent suggestions. I sent suggestions to some of my players that they could then post them, so the player will know which ones are from me that I'm hoping they will explore. Some of them are not, but all of them that have been posted so far, I've come up with a short backstory for what they'll find out if they investigate. And yeah, my players had a lot of fun with it. Let me bring up some of these. First one. Hi, Mr. Begonia. I really need help with my algebra homework. My teacher is a witch and always yells at me and tells me I am stupid. Please help. Do you want to read any of these views, or do you not have it up?
I don't have it up at the moment.
You only wrote the one.
Yeah, I only wrote one. I might write another one before then, but...
Well, it's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe.
Maybe tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow. One of our players may not be able to make it. We may end up playing City of Heroes together instead. This is the one Buse wrote. Hello, Scarlet Flower Lady. My name is Billy Carson. There is this guy at school who picks on me all the time. He beats me up, takes my lunch money, and lies to the teacher about me cheating. I think he has superpowers because whenever he stares at me, I get scared, and people always believe him no matter how big the lie is. Please help get him out of our school. Shazamboy@gmail.com. Oh, one of my favorites was one of the last ones that was written. This was written in by the character John. Well, the player who plays John. Hey, Scarlet Begonia. My best friend is getting married, and I want to throw the best bachelorette party ever. I figured, let's get some supers and see how super they can be. Wink. Message me if your team is interested in the wildest night ever. bestmo69@gmail.com. Yeah. So, give your players a chance to shine. This is communal storytelling. Give them an opportunity. Well, I don't know if this would translate back over into a fantastical setting with my players, if they'd still be as comfortable. Probably not as comfortable, but they'd probably, after playing with me in this, they'd probably be comfortable coming up with stuff like this. Yeah. So give it a shot. One of the nice things is I don't have a long-term plan. I have some storylines I want to see happen. I have some ideas. I have about 4 pages worth of ideas right now. But what do they choose to go after? Do they keep trying to find out who this Priya chick is? That we have that storyline going on. We have the Carl Richardson killing drug dealers. We have the Holmes up in Vero Beach. I don't remember all the storylines I've thrown at you guys. Oh, I've got a really big one that's about to come into their play, but today is June 9th in the world, and they're what are we at, like mid-afternoon on June 9th still?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mid-afternoon on June 9th. They don't see the ramifications of one thing that Buse did that's going to come back and bite them in the butt really, really hard until after that day, the 10th or the 11th.
What's June 9?
What was that?
Trying to see what.
I
No, it's.
love being a turtle.
I just looked up what day June 9th is. It's a Friday. It's getting close to end of day Friday. Is it what I think it is?
I don't know what you think it is, but probably not.
Oh.
What do you think it is?
Isn't it about to be the 2-week anniversary? Like, I gave the captain until that Friday to do the promotion.
Oh, you did, didn't you?
Yeah.
No, it's not that. But now I have to write that down because I'm going to see what happens with that.
I mean, the guy's already in enough trouble, so.
That's true.
So for those of you who have been watching from the beginning, if you watched like my game, the cop who tried to catch me and who I gave a hard time to, he has become a larger part of our story, and he hates my character, or if not hates my character, I've caused him a lot of grief in his personal and professional life.
Yeah.
Not entirely purposely, but not entirely accidentally either.
If you go back and watch that episode, the first one where we meet Larry McCooperson, Officer Larry McCooperson, I didn't have a name for him. I had to make something up because he was literally a random encounter roll. I rolled some dice, those dice right there. I rolled a couple of dice, and I'm like, okay, a cop's going to pull him over for driving erratically on a road south of Miami, on a major road, on a major highway south of Miami, in a Lamborghini. And he's driving like he's never drove a stick before because he's never drove a stick before. And that character, who was just a throwaway cop, has become one of their main contacts with the police force. That's the kind of freeform I'm talking about here.
Mm-hmm. It's a fun game. We have a lot of fun together. I mean, yes. But overall, like, this group off and on has been. I mean, I met all of these people roughly at the same time. Well, no, except for John. John I met a year later, but roughly I've met all these people at the same time that I met Bees. We've all been friends for about the same amount of time. And yeah, we've been gaming pretty much since then. I ran a game back in college that everybody was in, multiple games back in college everyone was involved in. Beast ran some games back in college we were all involved in.
Mine were a lot worse.
I wouldn't say that, but we had some disagreements as player to GM, but
I was a brand new GM and I was learning the ropes. So yes, my games were a lot worse. But I learned, and now they're very good. You gotta take a step out there and actually try and do this. Anniversary of Char's ultimatum to the police. Was it the commissioner?
I think so, yeah. Chief, something like that. He was above captain because...
Good enough. Just got to remember that before I start the game tomorrow night, if we play tomorrow night on our Sunday night game. Today we're recording on Saturday this week. So give it a shot. Try out new things. Don't be afraid to come up with stuff on the fly. Give your players tasks and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to add?
Well, as I've said before, last time we talked about paper and pencil RPG stuff, it doesn't matter how old you are. Anywhere from 13 to 99, and even beyond that. Get together with a group of people, find your local gaming shop, try it out. Especially when it comes to like D&D games and stuff like that, there's a lot of games out there that are friendly to new characters, new players coming in, showing you the ropes. It's a lot of fun, and even as an adult, it can stretch your imagination. If you happen to be younger, it's a nice way to get to know people. Again, some friend, like I said, like the group of people I'm gaming with right now, we've known each other for over 2 decades and still game together.
Quarter of a century.
Quarter of a century. Most of our lives. Over half of our lives. Yeah, and it's a great way to get to know people. For people like me who are shy and introverted, regardless of how I might seem on the podcast, it's a great way to kind of, if you want to, kind of get out of your shell a little bit. Not that it's a problem to stay in your shell, but if
I
you
do
want
love
to
being a turtle.
Indeed. But if you want to try to just get out there a bit and get to know people, sometimes being able to take on a whole new persona can be a nice way of doing that. Get into character, have fun with it, and, you might make some good lifelong friends along the way. And there's a lot of gaming stores and stuff out there that have tables that people rent, or in some places, as long as the place is open, you can use for free, and you can get in on these games, and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, that would be my suggestion. And before I go, it is episode number 4.
Oh, I have 2 things to say. 1, listen to the Clone Trooper. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Do what the Republic tells you. Like, share, and subscribe. Sorry. Our viewership hit 14 people this week. We're very excited about that. We'd like to hit 15 by next week. Yeah. Anybody out there at the WB who can, at Warner Brothers, in whatever form you are, who could listen to a movie pitch for a superhero movie, I'd love to pitch something to you. If you guys end up owning Star Trek, I've got some Star Trek stories I'd love to pitch. Contact me here at Bees at Blam Blam Truckers. We should probably come up with an email address or something for us, or just contact us through YouTube or our Facebook page. I'd love to hear from you. Any of you 15 people out there who are our subscribers or one of our many, many viewers. So yeah, thank you, and be safe. And I think I'd like to end this with, keep on trucking, you Blam Blam Truckers.